Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more.
We'd call the meeting to order of the Exeter Water and Sewer Advisory Committee meeting on Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. I'm Bob Kelly, the chairman of the committee. To my far left is Alan Mangan, a member. To my immediate left is Carl Wickstrom. And to my right are Select Board Representatives Dan Chartrand and Molly Cowan. We will begin by listening to the abatement requests. So since you made the effort to actually come, we'll take you first, even though you're the last one in.
Do I need to come up?
Yeah, you need to be on the microphone. That would be great.
They told me you'd have a packet of everything.
We do.
We know, yeah, we know exactly what happened.
Yes, so our water filtration system was in a constant cycle of refreshing, and so hence the high water bill.
So there's no way to check that, because it seems like it was
I have a question.
going for quite a while.
It says in the packet, usually it says the date they sent the email.
We
There's no
didn't get
date
it.
as to when.
We never got a notification.
Well, they say they sent an email, is what they said.
Oh, I
It didn't
didn't-
say, but there's no date, so.
Yeah, no, I never got any
It looked like it went on
notice.
for 6 months.
I got the bill and then had Ed come out and he found it. So I never, I don't have any problem. I get those emails for all the properties I manage and I always get them, but never got one for my house, so.
Do you know when you got the first notice?
I didn't get any notice. I just got the bill and then I had Ed come out.
One thing you might want to do is just double check with Water and Sewer Clerical about like what email they're using to notify you.
Okay, because I get it for everything else,
And
but-
it's working.
Yeah, it's working, but not.
Just double check the one
just not for my
on Whole
house, so.
Place, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that has a lot to do with how much there is there, because it went on for
It went on for
6
a while.
months.
Yeah, we had no
So you
idea
can look at the
until we got-
usage, and it started going up, and now, I'm a little confused also. There's 2 meters shown. Is one of those an offset meter?
I have an irrigation.
Yeah, so
system.
one of those is an offset
Yep.
meter. That's why there's a different
Right.
bill for the water, or different amount for the water and the sewer.
Yep.
Okay, so one of those lines is an offset. All right. So the grand total here is a little misleading. It should be subtracting instead of adding on this
Right.
usage at the bottom.
Yeah.
But it does look like it started in June, started up in the middle of June maybe, and lasted to middle of December, something like that.
Yeah, I don't even know when, because it's in our basement. We could.
Do you know when it got fixed, though? End of
I got
December?
it fixed as soon as.
No, do you know what date that was?
The invoice should be.
It should say there. Okay, yeah, I'll go back and look at it.
Okay.
I'm wondering why we didn't
12/10.
get
It was
2
12.
quarters of
Yeah, well,
analysis.
yeah, I don't like that either.
So as soon as you found out that there was
I
a
had it
problem,
fixed,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
she got it
even-
fixed on December the 10th, so the middle of December was a pretty good guess
Yeah.
on my part. Thank
Yeah.
you.
But I wonder if they just gave us the first quarter and didn't give us the second, knowing that we wouldn't
It looks like
bend it in.
yeah, I think they gave us the higher bill of the two.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think
Well, and
it
they also
said-
give the prior year's usage on page, 11 of 14. So it has the master and the deduct meter on there.
Do we want to just act on this, what they gave us, or do we want to see what the other quarter looks like?
Well,
I mean, I don't think they'll be that much different, since the usage looks like it was pretty constant.
Yeah.
So
you walk
we would
through-
just abate 1/4
Can you
anyway.
walk through what our policy is again?
Yes. The strict policy is that if the problem lies between the meter and the house, then it's the homeowner's responsibility. And if it's outside of the meter, then it's the town's
And
responsibility.
what is our grace policy?
Our grace policy is that we listen to what the issue is, and generally, if there's a leaky toilet or something that they would have very little chance of finding, because, we're not all plumbers and, hydraulic engineers, that we generally give a 50% abatement of the excess usage
On one bill?
on one bill. Yeah,
So-
we don't abate two bills, because we figure if it goes to a second quarter, they just weren't paying attention. I mean, we're giving people a break anyway, because we're giving them abatement even though it was their issue, so we don't feel like we need to.
So do you know which bill was higher?
I can look on it was about $3,000, whichever, yeah.
Right.
That,
And if you look at the usage from,
Is that the one they gave us, Bob?
yes, if you look at the usage from August through the end of the year, it's pretty constant,
Yeah.
roughly. So I think the bills would be,
So does this kind of,
most of it's going to be in this quarter.
does this kind of water filtration feedback loop problem count as like,
it does.
okay,
It's part of their system. So it'd be the same as a leaky toilet, from our perspective.
so could I
But-
make a motion?
But on the other side of that, though, this is something that, the leaky toilet, generally you can tell
Yeah.
if you've got a leaky toilet. You can't, this sounds like something she could not have
Well, I agree,
She could not-
except,
seen, so.
and usually in my experience, I've also gotten notices in the mail for high usage.
yes,
In addition to an email, which I never
I mean, we'll-
received either, but.
we'll abate some of this, but I would, to Carl's point, I would make sure they have your right email and your
Right.
right address for sending that stuff, because it seems odd that you didn't
Get any
notice
Yeah.
over the course of, 4 months.
You said Ed? Who's Ed?
Ed Bugby
He's-
Ed, but from
Yeah.
from the water.
from the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anybody that knows me knows if there's a problem, I'm going to fix it like right away, so.
I'm not,
Like I said, I would just confirm, since you do have a number of properties, I
Yeah.
would make sure that they have the right contact
Sure.
information.
Will do.
So Dan, you had indicated you would be interested in making a motion.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion per our policy of abating 50% of the bill that they've presented to us. I think it's 296141. So half of that.
no, it's not the way it works. It's
No.
50% of the excess.
Excess, so it'd
Oh,
be
the excess.
394.20 for
Plus,
the water,
and then,
and the
Four-
50% of the
429.
excess sewer, which is 429.18.
Okay, that's
Is
the
that-
motion.
and so,
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that. So it's a total of 38,
Where is the? Give-
82, 800.
823.38.
Yeah, 823.38.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So you'll get a notice of an abatement of $823.38.
Okay, thank you.
But again, we would recommend you make sure you have all the right contact
Yep,
information.
sounds good. Thank you all.
You bet.
Thanks, Mom.
It's too
Am
bad
I
they
good?
didn't contact you sooner, because I know you would have gotten
Yeah.
taken care of it right away.
Yep, but well, I figured it out, so, thank you.
Thanks, Molly.
Am I good to go?
Yes.
You are.
You don't, unless you would like to sit through everybody else.
No, I think I'm good.
Or we
Have a
could
great night.
recruit you to join
Right.
this board.
I think I'm also good.
Say hi to Scott for me.
Bye.
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 Okay, so it looks like the folks from Emerson Condos, hi Cassandra,
Hi, Bob. How are you?
are here, so we'll take them next.
What's the address on that one?
That is 75 High Street.
Thank you.
So it looks like,
Oh, this is this one.
well, it looks like there was a leaky toilet in a unit.
Yes, we're the leaky toilet crew.
And the
What's the address? Sorry.
75 High Street, Emerson Condos. So it looks like from the minutes that, well, it was a little confusing. You said that the transgressing unit owner was not in attendance.
Correct.
And you said at this point, we believe the issue was resolved. So how did you let them know that they had a leak in their unit?
They signed off on the minutes.
So what does that mean?
So it means they read the minutes that unit read them, I guess.
Okay, but there wasn't, it doesn't appear there was any follow-up on, the issue actually getting taken care of.
Right. We didn't know what unit it was until it got addressed, I suppose. I think it's miscommunication.
When did you think it got addressed? What month?
Right after our annual meeting when it was brought up to all the units.
And what date was that? Is that the minute
Yeah.
looking at?
I have it here.
Yeah.
September 19th.
Well, the usage I'm looking at, one of the usages I'm looking at shows it's still going up in October considerably. So-
Right. And I got the second high usage notice. And as soon as I got that, I immediately contacted everyone because at that point I knew it wasn't resolved.
Okay. Do we have any data that shows anything past October? I mean, I don't like to do these until we know where they're fixed.
Yes, I believe it's in the packet. I called Desiree and she assured me that everything was back to normal.
Okay. Well, okay, I'm looking at a read in November that is 273,000 gallons. But then there's one and I'm not sure what this is, was meter in, meter out thing. Do you know what that means?
I don't.
Okay. I'm not sure. It's on a meter out, so I don't know if that usage number is
So how did you-
accurate. So
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the data printout, that as of the end of October, the usage went way down.
where?
Yeah, it's like
I guess I'm looking.
Going down.
I didn't go down far.
it's like a quarter of what it was.
Far enough. Okay, good. I feel better now.
So it does look like it was fixed.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, I guess, for future reference, it's incumbent, however you're set up, but it's incumbent upon the ratepayer to fix the leak. So I guess in the future, and if the minutes say that somebody has a leak, you guys as the leak patrol might want to follow up with whoever.
Yeah, that'll be our next committee is the leak control committee for sure. We've learned our lesson.
Yeah, I think relying on somebody to read the minutes as a notification they might have a problem is maybe a little presumptuous as to how
Okay.
how carefully minutes are read is, I guess what I'm getting at, is something to consider. All right, enough.
Thank you.
To be fair, this is a problem that many condo associations have.
Yeah, I know, I have one too, so,
Communication can be spotty
yeah.
Yeah.
at the ones that don't function well. The ones that function well, it goes really well.
So I guess, the question in this case is, and when we're talking about if we just do the 50%, that's still $4,000.
Yeah.
And,
It's a lot.
I mean, again, we're trying to.
How many toilets were leaking?
I think-
Just one, believe it or not.
It must have been full open. It wasn't just a leaky flapper valve, it was
Yeah, I think it was a flapper valve, I would imagine.
just completely,
It must have been
completely open. Another one that did never close, not just
It's just
leaked
going.
by.
It was just running and going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our policy is to do this one time every 10 years. So if we do this, you guys got to be on it for 10 years, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Next
Yes.
time there's no-
As long as I'm alive and living here, I'll be toilet patrol.
You need to change the condo rules so that you can like break down doors and
Yeah, I
fix
mean, I
toilets.
I love it.
I know we don't, go any less than the 50/50. That's been sort of our norm for 5 years, but
But that's a big
in
change.
this case, there should have been some follow-up, and it shouldn't have gone on that extra month. And it ended up being a lot of money, or a lot of usage.
Yeah.
Because if the notice, when did you get your first notice again? So
Late
it was right
September.
before September.
Late September, it says,
What-
2 days before.
Bob, I'm looking at the graph, and what's the
Yeah.
dip there in the middle?
Let's see.
I mean, it could have been everybody, that was mid or early October, maybe Columbus Day weekend, maybe? Or
Here, yeah, right.
something
Well, maybe the flapper settled down for that.
for one day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like, again, the problem I have here is that so their meeting was on, what was it, the night, 18th?
19th of September.
19th. So if we go to where the usage at the 19th,
Yeah, it would've been
that's like
like half of the,
10%, maybe 15% of what the usage, and so there was a lot of wasted water because
This,
of the lack of follow-up.
maybe here.
See, the notification that they got, the high water usage from DES was on the
19?
2 days before their annual meeting, so the
Right.
17th,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And then it just.
And then because they
it's
thought
almost
the
like
issue was
something-
resolved by forwarding, or because the person signed off, they probably said, oh yeah, I read the minutes, without realizing that they were the ones that had to deal with it.
Yeah, we didn't know what the unit was either.
I mean, that's what that,
So
it's fixed now, yeah. Yeah.
of the usage that was the overage, let's see if I can calculate this out.
This is where we all become detectives.
The water bill is 7,600 over the expected amount.
Right.
Realistically, it should have been probably 1,000,
Yeah, right.
maybe 1,500.
Once we had notified them.
Right, and they showed that when they got the second notice, they fixed it right away, so presumably they would have fixed it right away the first time if some sort of follow-up had been conducted. So I have a little bit of a problem of giving them a free pass for that, that additional
The second-
month and a half.
The second bulge there.
Yeah.
So you want to do,
I don't mind doing something,
you want to do half of the first bulge?
Well,
Half of the overage of the
where's
first?
the bill? Okay,
I mean, I'm
12, 11, 12.
We do have a.
when I read that the issue was resolved and it wasn't, that's their responsibility. Let's see if we can, I mean, that's my thoughts. I mean, we can.
That makes sense.
However we want to do it, but
Yeah, well, it's 3 months, the quarter,
yes.
and it looks like, kind of hard to tell from the data we're looking at where it actually started. But they didn't get the high water, probably started not too far before they got the high usage notices.
Right.
So,
Well, if you look at the usage going back.
yeah, but
Just to be clear,
it
they have
doesn't
1
really,
meter for the condo association?
usage kind of, I mean,
So you have a master meter for the
Yes,
building?
just one. Yep.
okay.
So that individual unit doesn't have their own meter, you're all operating on one master meter.
Yes, and we just got that replaced with a brand new one too when this issue came up.
So
You replaced
this,
the meter.
That, yeah. So, so you just take it out of the condos, that gets paid out of the condo association
Right.
budget or whatever.
Correct.
It's probably quite a bit over budget for this.
Oh yeah, it's going to be pretty terrible if you guys aren't generous.
Well,
No special levy for one unit?
Well, that'll be discussed, I'm sure, if
I'll stay out of that.
depending on the results here.
yeah, that's for them to decide, but I agree with you, Bob. I think that,
Well, it looks like their average was around, let's say, 80,000 gallons going back for most of '24, their previous three bills
for the quarter,
for the quarter.
right.
And then for this quarter was 273,000. You know,
Oh, and this does look like it's been fixed. I can see the district monthly
a
usage
delta
now.
of, let's say, almost 200,000 gallons.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're great customers for sure.
Even better this last fall.
Should have given you a bulk rate. Yeah, I'm good with what you're thinking, Bob.
I mean, we can, again, we're not hydraulic engineering, they do the best they can, and
Yeah.
it's sort of, but I guess, in the absence of an actual calculation, we'll sort of meet them halfway.
Half and
but
half?
Half and half, so a half of what the 50% is, which is more generous than what the data would indicate that we should.
So do 25%.
Roughly.
Of the whole thing,
That would be
Yeah.
my
half of a half.
explanation.
I'll make a motion to do a 25% abatement on the sewer and water bill for this 75 High Street.
In which quarter?
The
one that's shown.
The one shown,
Okay.
which is the one ending in, well, the due date is December, but it actually ended on the 12th of November.
I will second that.
All right, so I'm going to have to do some calculations, but basically, if you want to
Just divided by,
play along at home, but,
just add it up and divide by 2.
right.
Where is it? I guess I went past it.
So we're talking for the water part, at a 50% reduction, and it's over the excess, so it's not the whole bill. So what
Right.
we would abate is the excess of your average normal usage. So the water part, if it was 50%, it'd be, about a little over $1,500.
And we're doing half of that.
And we are recommending that we do half of that because this went on for an extra 6 weeks, despite the fact that the person supposedly, knew that they were responsible, and so they obviously didn't take that responsibility seriously, and the lack of follow-up. Well, so we're trying to help you out a little bit, but
Okay.
there's, not to be too harsh here, but there is some negligence on a number of different, ends on it. So it's hard to.
I'll amend that and get the number of $2,013.73. Unless you want to do that, around it.
So what is it now?
$2,013.73.
So half of the 1557.89.
Right.
Plus half the 20.
So what we would, the motion and second would be 25%. We would abate 25% of the
The
excess. By our calculation, just visually on the graph, that's 10%, or that's a 60% more than what, from your initial notification of what we would normally do. So
There's no first time, I'm really sorry
This is the first.
This is the first
We're
time.
really sorry. This.
The policy is that if it's inside the meter, it's your responsibility. So what we've been trying to do basically since COVID, not to put a timeline on it, but that's what it was, when people were living together and people were having difficulties with bills, is we decided to be a little bit less draconian than saying it's all your responsibility. Again, understanding that sometimes you don't hear leaks. In this case, again, the person should have fixed it, and they didn't, and it caused, wasn't a minor, addition. It was an additional several $1,000s of usage, and that's on you. Sorry.
Yeah, so prior to 2020, there was no give.
There would be no abatement prior to 2020. And that is indeed what the policy is. So it's not like we're making things up. That the policy as it stands right now is that there should not be an abatement, but we're trying to be a little bit more understanding, as it were.
I appreciate that. And thank you for your consideration.
Well, just let us, so all in favor of the revised abatement of $2,013.73, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So you get a notification accordingly.
Great.
Good luck
And if
with
you would
the
like
next
to
meeting.
discuss the details of how we came up with that more, feel free to either go through the Public Works or come back to me as the chair, and we'll walk you through how we came up with that. But a 50% abatement of the excess water and sewer would be about $4,000. And we've cut that in half because of the length of time that this went on without being fixed.
Okay.
All right?
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Which one do you want to do next?
I'm sorry?
Are they?
I don't know. He's still on, but he is welcome to be on. Okay. So I don't see anyone else in the queue, so we'll go back up to the beginning.
Garfield.
Garfield?
Well,
We'll do Crawford later.
I had 81 Winter Street as the
That's fine.
first one.
All right.
So, 81 Winter, it seems like it's relatively straightforward. This is a leaky toilet and again, a tenant, an elderly tenant at that, according to the write-up. And evidently the landlord asked if there was a problem and the tenant said no, but no did not include a leaky toilet valve running for several weeks. And that she had to jiggle the handle, which presumably is standard operating procedure. But at any rate, as soon as the landlord found out there was a problem, it looks like they fixed it.
Yeah, there was only 1 month of high usage.
Right. And does not seem to, and again, in this case, with an elderly tenant, we've been a little bit more understanding.
I make a motion we do an 80% abatement on this case.
Okay.
For both water and sewer?
For water and sewer. Yeah.
Of the excess usage.
Of the excess usage.
I'll second that.
So that would be 80% water would be $178.96, and 80% sewer is $283.54, for a total of 14, 15, 12, $462.50.
That's correct, sir.
Any further discussion? Nope. All those in favor of an 80% abatement for the excess water and sewer totaling $462.50 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. Okay, next is 41 Industrial Drive. And this again, this is a business condo, it appears. When the owner got a notification, he reached out to all the tenants, and they found 3 toilets with leaking issues. Again, the leak did not seem to last for very long.
Looks like 3 months. Started in November, ended in January. When was the notice sent?
So it was December, January.
Yeah, but they didn't get the notice until January.
16th, and then
Yeah,
they fixed it
right away.
within a month.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's good. It's within a week, probably, actually.
any thoughts on this one? I mean, this would typically be a 50%. Based on the fact that there are 3 toilets, and those office condos there, sometimes
Yeah.
they're not using them on a regular basis.
How much would that total to, Bob? Is
The
it the
water would be
764?
$764, and the sewer would be $1210, so roughly $2,000. Roughly.
So 1974, 71?
That's it.
That's it.
I'll make that motion.
That's second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So, okay, next is 19 Garfield. Again, it looks like they had a leaky toilet downstairs that they didn't actually say that it wasn't used much, but it doesn't appear like it was used much. This would appear to be a
There's no mention of a notice in the packet that I can see from the water sewer department.
no. They
Just got a high bill.
They just got a high bill. and,
It's not that big a
right.
excess, really.
Which what probably happened is that they got the bill before they Des
Well-
got around to sending a high because it was probably such a the timing was such that the bill came out
Yeah,
before.
It is twice as high as usual, but
Right.
70% higher than usual. Or no, it's twice as high as usual.
Well, that's good looking out on the homeowner's part, I suppose.
Exactly. We should give credit where credit is due. So if we did the 50%, it would be around $220 roughly. $227.52.
I'll move that amount.
I'll let somebody else second this time.
I second it.
Alan, Dan moves, so we'll be approving a 50% water and 50% sewer abatement over their average water usage for a total of $227.52. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. And the last one is 54 Washington Street, which again appears to be leaky toilets. So high usage notice at the end of October. Another one was sent in January. not sure why the homeowner waited until the second notice before they contacted the DPW. They had to replace
2 toilets.
2 toilets. The cost of replacing the toilets far exceeds what the usage was, so
What's the 50% total?
it would be $181, roughly, $182. I mean, again, they did,
181, 91?
yeah, they did find it, and they fixed it relatively quickly.
I'll move the 181, 91.
Abatement of the 50% of water and sewer. Second.
Yep. Okay, so I just want to get this down. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. All right, thank you. So I'm going to defer discussion of the operations reports and election status to, are you Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll listen to, this is that Crawford Ave issue that I mentioned. And thank you for being patient.
No problem.
Good to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
No problem.
So, yeah, if you'd like to just grab a microphone, that would be great. So, my understanding is that, I think as early as February of last year, you guys experienced some brown water.
Oh, yes.
Around the Crawford Ave circle.
Right. Correct.
And I don't know if, well, we can get into the numbers in a minute, but that continued for most of the summer, it appears.
Yes, into early fall.
Background for the committee is that I think as I mentioned in my email, there was they did a lot of troubleshooting of the system. It was a problem that was not easily found relating to the groundwater plant and a valve that was supposed to be open at a time during backwashing, and the actuator failed so that it didn't actually open, so that
Was this the Larry Lane?
yeah, Larry Lane well. So the backwash water that was supposed to go to waste stayed in the system.
Got it.
And since Crawford Ave is literally the next level of users down from the plant, that slug of water would go to them, and then it would dissipate.
Special delivery, huh?
Yeah, special delivery.
You would be, there were days, and I'm not kidding, it looked like you'd poured coffee into your toilet.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking a little discoloration, we are talking brown.
Yeah. And this is your water supplied by the town.
Right,
So it's not just your toilet.
correct. There was no, you were uncomfortable getting in the shower, you certainly didn't drink it, we couldn't wash our clothes.
And you quickly
On those
notified the
days.
town.
Myself, as well as.
Yeah,
I think
there's
if
an
you-
email. Well, yeah,
If
I
you talk
apologize.
with
Keep forgetting
Desiree,
that you're-
she probably
okay.
knows.
There's a packet that describes many emails from February into April. Again, the Public Works jumped right on it, but it wasn't an easy problem to find, and the issue effectively continued into October, I think, right?
Correct. I mean, there were times when it was okay, but you always knew it was a little yellow.
Right.
But, fine, if I got a shower in that, but you certainly were uncomfortable doing whites,
Right.
For laundry.
Well, and you're not gonna use it.
Certainly weren't gonna drink it.
Right.
For sure.
So
I can't open any of these files.
this is a little bit, it's different as a request, because it's not volume related. There's no
Right.
leak, there's no
Quality
excess usage.
related.
This is a water quality issue.
Right.
The issue is clearly with the town system.
Definitely on our side of the meter.
Yes. Have you, and we got some information from Public Works. I don't know if we got all of it, but have you, you said you had to replace some toilets and things
So
like that?
In my house alone, and there are multiple people on my street, so we bought in '22 at 12 Crawford. One of our toilets was brand new that year. We replaced the entire toilet that year. The other one was however old it was with the house. During that time, we ended up having to replace the guts of both toilets, which would seem incredibly coincidental, except when I talked to the plumber, he's like, that kind of sediment absolutely can mess up the guts of.
Oh, yeah, it gets into the
Right,
mechanism.
so it wasn't coincidental. One of the toilets could, for all I know, have been 6, 8, 10, 12 years old, but I know for a fact, one of them was less than 2.
Right.
And there were multiple people on the street that said the same thing. They had to replace the guts of their toilet.
Was everyone on the street affected? Or-
So there were, we've got a group texting string just as neighbors. Everybody that I know was affected, but not everybody's on the string. So, you've got a list of, I don't know, there were
Yes.
12 or 13 of us that I think agreed to kind of let me head this.
Yep.
When I had
We
originally
appreciate that,
spoken.
by the way.
Well, when I had originally spoken to Russ, he wanted us to all individually apply for abatements, and I felt like that was a waste of a lot of people's time, yourself included, because you're going to have to sit through, 10, 12, 14 of these things.
Yeah,
To
no,
me, it made more
I mean,
sense.
part of the
We're all-
problem is we didn't hear about this until quite recently.
Yeah, no, I'm-
And maybe,
I'm familiar with that. part.
maybe if we if we did, we could have worked out the financial part.
So it's clearly on our side of the ledger.
Yes.
It's not in your homes. What is since I haven't had a chance to look at the.
What they have requested, and you can correct me on the numbers, but what I've heard, I don't have a final reconciliation, but my understanding is that Mr. Ouellette and his, the people that he has been able to contact are looking for that middle quarter, which is about $5,300 roughly.
Oh, I have no idea what the number
Yeah,
is. I knew it was 3
it adds up
months
to
of
about
abatement.
$5,300.
How many other households are on Crawford that aren't represented by this gentleman?
My guess is 6 to 8.
Okay, so we have roughly 2/3.
And if some
Because they're going to hear about what happened with you, and then we're going to hear from them, perhaps.
I don't know that you will.
Okay.
I have no, again, I, in my dealings with Russ, tried to be very upfront that I felt like we could have asked for more, but I wasn't looking to push the boundaries. I wanted
Yeah.
to be fair to the town. I wanted the town to be fair to us.
You wanted to be fair to the system and all the other users.
Right, and so to me, 3 months of abatement was reasonable, considering it was more or less 6 months in totality that this went on. Again, there were some days where the water was not even remotely usable. There were some days where it was discolored and,
Yep.
brushing your teeth, you used a.
I got it.
Well, and the other
bottle
issue is,
water.
even if it's not constant, you still are nervous about using
There's mental
water.
wear and tear, right?
And that's not the business that we're in.
Right.
Believe me, when this finally, there was a sigh of relief on that street, like, okay, we're on like day 3 with clear water. Like,
Yeah.
maybe
So,
it's
and we
final.
do know that this has been repaired?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It was repaired and finally they figured it out.
Can I ask a
in
bigger
fall.
question before we narrow it back down? So we just approved the funding for the drink water
Yep.
well. There's some negotiation that still has to happen
Yes.
there. But once that comes online, there's also money in there to rehab Larry Lane.
Larry Lane well and
Larry
the
Lane
pump
well,
house.
Which has nothing to do with
No, this is
Okay,
this
that
is the
was-
plan. What had happened is there was an actuator on a valve, and it became disconnected with the valve. So the actuator was still reading that it was open and going to waste, but the actual valve was not opening. And, you can imagine how difficult that would be to find.
Was the stem cracked? Was
Yes.
actually, it was
Yeah, it was
turn- oh,
corroded. It was
Okay,
corroded.
so the stem was essentially broken off.
So the top, the actuator was turning, but the valve was
Yeah.
not open.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
I can
not
see how
opening.
you could never-
And you could almost, it's a pure blind
looked like
luck
it's turning, but
that
it's
you would
not.
find it.
Yeah, I could-
So that's why it took 6
Like, I
months.
think they, as, the email that, you got from Russ, or the printout from Russ, or actually, I guess from
Steve Cronin.
Steve Cronin, right. They had, and again, I think if you were to ask Desiree or any of those guys, everybody on Crawford was very respectful. They were really very good about getting on things. It just got frustrating that we did this, so you should be all set.
And then it wasn't.
3 days
Well,
later,
that's
we're all
what-
texting each other like,
Right.
No.
anybody seeing any, improvement? And we'd all be calling or emailing. So it wasn't a lack of response, but as you said, they just couldn't figure out what the heck it was.
Right.
Right.
Well, let
So
me-
I think the communication was appropriate, and we thank you for being, respectful of the process
Sure.
and coming in. We just hadn't heard about it. So,
Well, I think, so we're talking about roughly $5,300 here?
yeah, I don't know the exact amount. Melissa said that that's what the number was. I don't know if it's rounded off, but it's in that neighborhood.
Can we grind that in, because that's an incredibly generous offer from these folks.
I
And
would
we should
agree.
take it.
I agree.
Well, there's also 6 to 8 other people that are outside the loop.
There was, I talked to one of my neighbors. He says, oh, we got an abatement for something like 2 years ago, so we're good. And I'm like, this is completely different. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to twist your arm to join the group.
Yeah, the
like,
other
you
thing
know.
is,
I-
I don't think this should count on the once in 10 years abatement. for these
No,
guys.
this is us.
Well, that's
This
kind
is
of what I
not
thought,
them.
right, but.
This is
it was
not
like-
It's not a,
This is
this is not a
us, yeah.
regular abatement.
Right,
This is
agreed.
a-
But one thing that is sort of a conundrum for us is that this is sort of a special case. And, if people drink their water and it doesn't taste good, they're not due for an abatement.
No, this is a
a
piece of
one-off.
equipment.
This is a one-off. It's an equipment failure that was
Yeah.
very complicated and difficult to find.
Yeah.
And we're working with the residents. But this is not an indication that if somebody is displeased, I mean,
Yeah.
our staff works very hard to comply with federal regulations, and they do. This is a one-off situation.
Yeah, no, we're not cracking open a new policy here. We're accepting a very generous offer.
Right. So
from a
what we
group
will
of
probably
citizens
do, I
and
think
users.
Russ may have alluded to this, is that there would be some sort of, a very simple document such that this
Yes.
would be it.
He-
We would agree with you, but that this is not an indication of, going forward, and not necessarily for you, but for the whole rest of the town, that
Right.
if your water tastes funny, you're due an abatement. No, that's not going to be the case.
No, Russ had said that there would be a waiver of some
Right,
kind that we would
exactly.
sign, and I don't have any issue.
And you all are comfortable with that?
They've all kind of just let me take the lead, and I
Good.
send them a text occasionally to let them know where we're at, and I get a couple of pats on the back and go get them, and so
Yeah.
I don't think anybody will have an issue with it.
So how would a motion on this be
Just,
framed?
I would say a motion to
Accept.
approve the negotiated 3-month or quarterly abatement
Is that-
offer by the residents.
Do we have that authority to accept that?
We've been asked to
Oh, okay.
provide the authority.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this is the proper channels. The select board would like us to
All right.
advise
This
them.
does seem more like a select board level. decision,
Well, but they've
But
asked
if they've
us
asked
as
us
the
to do
advisor,
it,
and we have,
that's fine.
we have
Started-
40% of the select board here, you can verify.
Right, exactly. I mean,
That
just
you would
wanna
like
make
us
sure.
to take
We
care
will
of.
report out.
It actually started with Russ. They then contacted the town lawyer. Town lawyer said,
Right.
originally said Russ had the authority, then somebody looked.
But that's
deeper.
not the process.
Right,
We
it's-
don't want,
No, understood.
Russ does a fine job, but
Right.
he's not involved in the water and
But
sewer
then they
issues.
said, okay, so it's
That's
going
not
to go to the
his role.
select board.
Yeah, but that's not
Okay,
his
and-
role.
And then they drew back from that, said, actually, no, now we've got to move it to, so again, it was, all of that had been communicated.
It-
So it's been kicked several times.
What should have happened is that Russ should have said, you need to talk to the water and sewer
And
committee.
I've actually been talking to
But you
Russ
were
since-
talking to him, so it
I've been
made
talking to
sense as
Russ
the
since
town
November.
manager for him to talk to you. So it was just,
Right.
we got there, we'll fix it.
Cool.
And that's for future reference, that's the way it should go.
So run that motion by me one more time.
So I would say the motion would be to accept
Their offer.
the offer of a negotiated settlement of roughly $5,300, and the town will figure out what the exact amount is.
And credit all of the different.
I second.
And credit as remuneration for the,
For each individual
right.
So
people.
I think we should phrase that motion as we advise the select board to.
Great.
Yeah,
Because
that's,
they are
also-
technically, the select board is the water and sewer commissioners.
Yes, they are.
right.
And because this is a very special case, let's do this exactly right.
Well, I also, I mean, I think that I don't want to just limit it to this, because if there are people who have been impacted, who we want to make whole,
Yep.
I would like the opportunity to do that.
Other folks on Crawford
Yes,
Ave.
exactly,
And we can do that at the select board,
right.
under,
Like
with the
using-
advice of this body.
So, because I guess I agree with the sentiment, but, Jim's been talking to everybody in the neighborhood for 6 months. So
I-
that presumably if there was, the 11 people that he's got are the people who feel like there was some problems and they would like to be remunerated.
Totally, and also I don't want it to be your responsibility to whip all of the support. And if
Right.
there are people who come and say, oh, well, wait a minute,
Individually,
I was under this impression and now the rules are this, then I would like to be have the opportunity to have that
it's
addressed.
almost like a class action settlement.
Yeah, right, and I don't want it
So
to be
you
on
would recommend that we, Desiree, presumably, would reach out to every resident of
Right.
Crawford and say, we on the table is a 3-month abatement for your water and sewer bill, or
So just,
I think that would
I
be
guess,
And get them to sign off on the.
To the other
very
6
good
households.
faith.
yes.
Okay.
Because I also.
Because everybody
the other
did
thing is to find
experience
out what the
problem.
50, is the 5,300 just water? Or is it sewer as well? There's no real reason why it should be a sewer
No.
abatement.
Right.
So we need to
Your sewer-
qualify
your
the
sewer
number.
Experience was not impacted,
Other than.
other than your expenses replacing
Well,
equipment.
I mean, obviously, yes, it was not impacted. What
You couldn't run.
I had asked, what I thought I had asked for was an abatement, a 3-month abatement of the entirety of the bill. Whatever the bill was, it goes away,
Got it.
which
Water and sewer.
water, sewer, meter charge, the whole bit.
So what-
Because again, that was.
So
a
that would
matter
be
of,
the 5,300.
you know,
That's the
let's-
5,300?
Yes.
So I mean, yes,
Still a
yes,
good offer, right?
his sewer still worked, however, he wasn't able to use the clothes washing, the dishwashing.
Right,
Well,
right.
and
Things that-
in the beginning, they probably flushed the
there
toilet
are-
more.
Probably
thinking
flushed
that-
it more,
that it was
right,
that,
right.
you know,
There are
some sort of
also
issue.
people that have ruined clothes.
Yeah.
Trust me, there's,
Okay.
but at
So-
some point, we could have litigated this, which was,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to enjoy it, nobody was going to enjoy that.
That's not how we do it.
Right, nobody, so. it
No,
was-
and we can all agree and see that this is a very, like, this is a fair assessment. This is
Okay,
this is not how we want our services
Right.
to work.
Right.
so why don't we
Let me
have a
do-
motion and a second to agree in concept to.
And advise.
To make them
Right.
whole. We still need to come up with a final number, and we will reach out to all the other 6 or 7 residents, or whatever it might end up being.
Yeah.
To get a final number, and we as a committee through, well, I don't know how the
We're advising the
mechanics will
select
go.
board to accept.
But we will talk to you about
Okay.
what that number ends up being, and we'll,
Absolutely. I mean, Russ, Melissa have my email address, they have my phone number, so.
Okay.
So we're going to make a motion to advise the select board to accept the outlines of this deal and work out the details.
Yes.
correct.
That's my motion.
Okay.
Second.
And Carl seconds.
Third.
It's very important.
So, yeah, I think, I'm not sure who will contact you exactly, but we'll figure out what that number is, and I guess in the well.
No hurry.
We'll
At this
we'll
point.
do the research on the residents, because we do have the annotation that you sent, or
Right.
that Steve had, that gives the residents that you've.
Yeah, and that was, so what, again, had happened is I basically sent out a broadcast
Right.
text, and those are the people that responded with their
Okay.
account number.
Well, we'll make one more attempt,
like that.
just to be fair.
Sure, I appreciate it.
Okay.
So you have 2 buildings in the I see your name on the list.
I have a rental property up the street
okay,
also.
okay.
Which
And
was
it was also
purely coincidental that it went up for sale and I was looking for a property to buy. Nothing like having renters that
I'm
are
guessing
5
that
doors down.
Ron, well, is your father?
What's that?
Is Ron your father?
Ron is my brother.
Your brother?
Yes, my much older brother.
I would think he's your much older brother.
I'm 62, he's 77.
Yeah. I know
Wow.
Ron because of bridge.
Oh, all right, yes. That's his favorite pastime.
Yeah, mine too.
Bridge, gosh, I haven't thought about bridge in a year.
I think about it every day.
Every day. Well,
Okay, all those in favor of the motion concept signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll be in touch on, and if there are other people that we find, and what that final number is, and then people would individually get a notification that
Right.
quarter would be
Great.
abated.
And when,
By the way, I plan on using that to, hey, by the way, somebody thinks you're my dad. He loves that. It's not the first time,
Oh, yeah, he
but there's 15 years difference.
15
so
years.
It's a
15
pretty
years is
significant.
almost different enough to be your dad, so
Yeah.
that's not that bad.
it falls under the category of brotherly love.
Oh, believe me, any chance we get to needle one another, so.
So we need to let him know when the select board's taking this up.
yeah.
So that
Why
you
is the
can-
select board taking it up?
Well, we have to,
still have to.
we're advising them to approve this,
Okay,
right?
sure. I mean, we don't ask for you to bless all of the abatement requests. We just do it as your agent.
Along the lines of, this is a one-time special case.
Fine,
Yeah.
not a problem.
It-
And if you would like, I can come to that meeting and.
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay.
I'd like it if you were there.
But we'll take-
I'd
we'll-
like it if
we'll
the
take care of
essential
it.
citizen were there.
And we'll let you know before, it gets
Yep.
100% finalized as to what we found
Will do.
with everything.
Thank you.
How's your brother doing?
Well, let's,
Sorry. Hang on there.
we have a quorum. If you want to go out and chat, go for it.
Sorry.
But I have a couple of agenda items and it'd be nice to
Okay, sorry.
move along.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Jim, appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
So, we'll go back up to the top, utility operations report, nothing specific outside of this issue. To report, system seems to be running along pretty well. Financial reports, Laura sent those out a month or so ago. The funds actually look pretty good. We should be able to, we're going to have the septage facility should be paid off in a couple of years once that gets operational. So I think the utility is in pretty good shape. As Dan alluded to, the groundwater exploration project was somewhat resoundingly 2-1 voted in yesterday. $6.8 million to conduct the design, permitting, and final construction of a new groundwater plant off of Drinkwater Road. Right now, we are in the final stages of negotiating land use agreements with the academy and starting our permitting process with DES. And the anticipation is that hopefully we can start construction this year, although my experience is that that's probably a pipe dream. But, the intent is to move along and get this taken care of.
Keep the wheels grinding.
Keep the wheels grinding. We have a good site, and the pump test report has not come back, but by all indications, we have plenty of water to feed into the system, so we should be in good shape for that.
No giant block of granite to go
Right,
through?
or clay or something like that.
Or over,
Yeah.
or-
So this should help out our groundwater supply for many, many years.
I walk my dog past that site 3 times a week, and we were very eagerly eliciting informal information from them as we went by, the dog and I.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, it went well.
So any other issues that the committee would like to address that's not on the agenda?
Do we have a date for the next meeting?
We don't. It'll be in June, probably that second Wednesday. why don't we can tentatively,
Just wanna-
we can
June the
tentatively do.
11th.
That's wide open for me.
I have a board meeting. Oh, God. Yep, that's okay. I will,
So I'm gonna tentatively put it in for 6:30 on the 11th of June.
Yeah, so let's tentatively plan on June 11th at 6:30.
okey doke.
And we'll go from there. Well, thank you all for weighing in on that Crawford Ave issue that had the potential to be
Can we
a
adjourn
little more
yet?
difficult, but everybody seemed to put on
Yep.
their accommodation pants.
I'm very grateful to that gentleman.
Right.
Oh, they're just talking
Yeah, it
about
helped out
settle
quite a
that
bit.
stuff.
He was thinking like not just a customer, but a user of the system, and I'm appreciative of that.
Yep. Well, and he seemed to have an understanding that when you grant an abatement, it comes out of the other 3,700 users' pockets.
There's no free lunch.
So,
Yeah.
an understanding of that is actually fairly refreshing these days.
It was.
So-
And I thought their offer was generous and fair, so
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, seeing no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So.
Motion.
Molly and we'll say Carl. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We'll see you on June 11th.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.